Hello, potential friends and adventurers. I'm Em, and today we're going to talk about how to have in-party roleplay. I mean, if you're a DM and you wanted some party chemistry, some party talk, some relations, some between players roleplay, some inner story, and you were wondering, how in heavens am I gonna get that? Well, here's how you're gonna get that. Let's see. There's this method, but you would want to have some friends, reliable players, some players that you can sort of trust to behave in, I guess, dare I say, mature manner, regardless of age. As long as you have friends you can trust, we can utilize this method. And even with people you don't know that well, we can still use it if you all can agree to behave and trust each other and have normal love for roleplay. Is that so uncommon amongst role players? I guess it shouldn't be. So let's get to it. Firstly, you want to take a list of all of the desires of what your players would like for, well, who would they want to go on adventure with as their character, from the perspective of their character within the world. Who would they want to play with? Who would they want to know? Who would they want to be with? And why? And why would they go on an adventure with them? What kind of relationships would they like to already have before the start of the campaign at all? Who do they know and why? Not this isn't just gonna be player background. This is pretty standard, but what we're gonna use this for, and why you're asking them so personally and not telling them to just write their background or something, is because we're gonna take a list of exactly what are their top ideal scenarios and who would be their ideal partners in adventure, who would be their friends and family, and who else would they actually go to the road of adventure with. So, you take for each player their ideal scenario A, you take their ideal scenario B, you may even take and should ideal scenario C. The A is the first one they would pick, and the other one, the B one, is what would they do if the first one wasn't available, what would they pick then. The C one is what if the first two aren't available, and so on. And then you take also some alternatives, like you would want this childhood friend to be with you, but you also would want this rival to be with you, and you would want perhaps this other person that's your mentor, so that they can be parallel to each other, and so on and so forth. And once you go around and take these from each player and you have all of the scenarios, you can then try to plan them all in. And by all, I don't mean necessarily all, but you want to sort of crunch down the most best scenario amongst all of these scenarios and connect players, pair them off. But no surprises here, you shouldn't do this behind their back. Now that you have the big list for each of them, you can sit down with them and cross-reference and say, would you be okay if you were a brother of this player? Would you be okay if you were the sister of this player? Would you be okay if you were the mentor of this player? And so on and so forth. Would it be okay for you two to be childhood friends? Would you two want to roleplay a couple? And so on and so forth. And there's no need to be shy. Players ideally would want to experience these scenarios, and if they still don't want to because they're not sure, they'll tell you, hopefully in a nice enough manner, and then you can scale down, go to section B, go to section C, and so on and so forth, until you connect as many of them amongst each other as is possible, because now they'll have great synergy motivations and so on, as long as everybody has agreed with great, well, looking forwardness, if you will, to it all, because you want to check whether somebody is just saying yes to say yes, or is this a total yes, because you want to sort of, even if players are squeamish, to get them to play what they would like and to trust each other and you as the DM, and you can even encourage them a little, but no pressure. They should all get to have what they like. And if that's not completely possible, well, we can fiddle around a bit, have some suggestions from the DM, have some new suggestions from the players, move things around a little bit until we get the ideal setup that everybody would love to play and can barely wait. Once we have connected everybody as much as possible and given even more backstory to the backstory, and don't forget, build all this together constantly in front of everybody, with everybody, consult everybody multiple times. It takes a bit of planning, it takes multiple sessions, zero, if you've heard about that, to do this, but once done, it has wonderful results because now you have wonderful party synergy with lots of backstory, lots of relations to fall back on, and essentially it's like having a campaign within a campaign because they have this personal party campaign that they would be now developing from the starting parameters, and the whole thing can be restructured if things do not go as planned. After all, what's one campaign that gets modified in comparison to not having fun? So just modify as is necessary to please the players eventually, and the next time you do this, it will go better from the start. I mean, it's a bit potentially of a heavy investment, but this is how you'll get the best times for all. And yes, as always, I suggest playing with as nice a players as you can find, even if you didn't know them before. After all that is done, say that you still have not enough players to satisfy everybody's needs. Maybe you run for only 2 people, maybe you run for 3 people, maybe you run for 1 person. In any case, say you don't have enough players, or say that you have enough players, but not everything is perfectly matched the way you would ideally want for everybody. Not everybody has everything they wanted, and it's not close enough for your overall party dynamics. So now you can throw in some characters from the side that you, the DM, will run. Don't worry about it, as long as you carefully design them towards ideal wants of the party, plus ideal needs of the story, and carefully stick to that, you can have some nice sort of players that you are running to fill out this wonderful party that has all these dynamics, and they can even take some of the, well, harder roles, taking the brunt of the thing, and you showing by example how this can be roleplayed, and therefore instilling some bravery for the future in your players if they haven't done it themselves yet. And so this is how you get as much party relations as you would like. I hope you found this unique, and if so, maybe you can spare me a click, and I could see you here next and every week. I wish you luck on your adventures. Bye.